And that is the reason why I prefer to have all-wheel drive in the Golf R instead of just front-wheel drive. This looks like a lot of fun here. So we have a new 2025 Golf R and a Golf GTI, of course. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at why it increased in price. And also I'm going to let you know why I would personally buy the old 2022 Golf R. I mean, it's pretty obvious choice to me, honestly, why I would go with that one. Great video there. So let's have a look at this article from Car and Driver, and let's see what's new for 2025 with the Golf R. And then we're going to jump into Photoshop. I'm going to show you the front, side, rear, the interior, compare the 2022 to the 2025 model year, and let you know why I would buy the 2022 model year. So 2025 Volkswagen Golf R pricing revealed, and it starts at $48,325. Volkswagen's hot hatch or Halo car loses its manual transmission, a move that makes the Golf R cost $1,720 more than the 2024 model year. So the pricing here, the GTI starts at $33,670, which I still think it's a very, very good deal for the GTI. It's not a very expensive car, and I don't think, I actually think the GTI, is that also losing the manual? I think I heard that the GTI is also losing the manual, which is crazy to think about. At least it could have the GTI still have a manual, but I could be wrong there. And of course, the Golf R here for 2025 starting at just over $48,000. And this has to do with the switch to Volkswagen dual clutch automatic. The DSG raised the R's price by $1,700. But as sort of consolation prize, as I say here, Volkswagen stuffed 13 additional horsepower and 15 additional pound-feet of torque under the hood for 2025 compared to previous year, 2024. So you do get a little bit of a bump in price, yes, but also in power. So for just a little bit more, Golf R buyers can choose the Black Edition, which adds a blackout look and carbon fiber treatment to the interior, starting at $49,640. Both trims of the Golf R also get an optional new Euro style package that will cost you an additional $3,795. Now, looking at this Black Edition package, this is 100% something that I would consider because it looks so good. It's just completely blacked out. The only thing that I would change here is the black wheels. So if we have the exterior package being all black like this, I would 100% switch out the wheels because otherwise it's just too much black. Black on black on black. Black wheels, black exterior, and then black interior as well. I would want to have probably some bronze wheels on this car, and it would look absolutely stunning. Both models are updated for the new model year with changes to the exterior styling and improvement to the tech inside, including the addition of a larger infotainment screen. Definitely more on that later on. Unfortunately, the arrival of the 2025 model year also means the death of the manual transmission for the Golf lineup here in the United States. So I do guess, yes, here they say both the GTI and the Golf R are instead fitted with the dual clutch automatic, which is it's an interesting choice because to me the Golf GTI specifically, maybe not the Golf R, I can see that being more suited with the dual clutch automatic, even though I personally still get the manual for that if it was available in 2025. But when it comes to the GTI though, that feels like a car that people are specifically looking for when they want a fun manual car, and now they're removing that option for 2025. It just does not make sense to me at all. But you can see the interior, so let's jump into Photoshop here and let's have a look at this design, what's new for 2025, because there are some big changes specifically in the interior that is probably the main reason I would say why I would go for the 2022 model year or the one that came out in 2022. So looking at the front end, so up top we do have the 2022 model year of the Golf R, and down low we do have the brand new 2025 model year. You can see some subtle changes to this design, and I really like what Volkswagen did with the front end design. On the old one we had sort of a little bit bigger headlights here, and what I thought about these headlights in the front end of the previous Golf GTI and the Golf in general, the Golf R as well, is that they feel like they're sort of stretched backward, like I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it's the front fascia of the Golf is just leaning backwards too much in the face. It's still a beautiful looking design, very subtle lines, and you can see that we have this upswing in the 2022 model year with this curvature here going upwards and then dipping down, creating these fins down here in the bottom. Now look at the new one and how much cleaner the new one looks. It's kind of tricky to figure out how you can make the 2022 look cleaner than it does, because it is a Volkswagen Golf, very conservative when it comes to the design and styling. But the new one, you can see that this upswing that we had here, for example, in the lower section is now gone, and instead we have one single line right here at the bottom, creating this very framed housing for the lower section. And these fins are a lot smaller now as well, and I think that looks better. It just looks a lot cleaner. I like the blacked out graphics that we have here. The headlights are brand new as well. Instead of having this dual dip here, this staircase design for the lower section, now we only have one staircase down here, and it feels like these are a little bit smaller. Maybe the headlights, they look to me they look better than the old one. We also have this light bar now in the front end design, which looks pretty clean. And the wheel design, we need to talk about the wheel design here, because whoever designed these new wheels, you deserve some sort of wheel design prize, because these are some of the best looking wheels for 2025 that I have seen. They look great, such good wheels, and these are also the 2022 ones were not bad at all. You can see the side view, not any huge changes to the proportions. Of course, this being a Golf, we need to keep it very subtle. So we have this shoulder line going from the very corner right here of the headlights into the sort of the corner of the taillights down there. We also have, of course, classic proper hatchback proportions. I love this line that is in every single Golf. If you haven't noticed that from the first generation, the Giugiaro Golf still had this very thick C-pillar here, and that is of course intact for the 2025 model year as well. As I said, the proportions here, as you can see, not any huge changes at all to the proportions. I actually think that the bodywork right here, the doors might actually be I'm not sure, but they might be the same doors that we had for 2022, because we still have this sharp shoulder line here going in the exact same line, and you can see that the taillight, the housing for the taillights here are also the same as we had in 2022. The only thing that changes are the internal pieces for the taillights, which we're going to have a look at in a minute here. We still have, of course, this big C-pillar, and I love this spoiler that we have up top in the roof. This design right here looks beautiful and definitely adds this R aggressiveness to this, and also sends the design off in a very, very nice way. But these wheels, man, I love these wheels. These are, if I could get the blackout package with these wheels specifically in silver, that is by far my spec. That is a spec that I would choose. I also like it in this blue though, so I'm not sure if we can get the blackout package with this blue. Maybe this is actually what we're looking at right here, because we do have blacked out graphics going all around the greenhouse here, as you can see, and also blacked out side mirrors. I like that we have a silver piece up top on the side mirror. Remind me a little bit of the old Audi S models, the S4, the S3 of the mid-2000s. You know, brings back a lot of memories. You knew it was a special Audi when you saw the silver side mirror caps on those cars. You knew that was a special S model. Now looking at the rear end, just a beautiful looking design by Volkswagen, this generation Golf, both the previous one, because you can see here we don't have a lot of changes here. And what I love here is that we do have this waterfall, typical German design. Waterfall design meaning that we have a graphic, or this chamfer, coming down from the bottom of the taillight, going in and creating this solid bumper that is clearly defined here, something that we rarely see today, because now bumpers usually are gone, and what we have in the back is just a flush surface. And I like to see bumpers being defined like this, and this is a very typical German design when we have this waterfall design here. I also love the graphics of the 2022 model year, looking very tight and very sort of robotic, but we still have some dynamic feeling in here, because you can see we have thinner pieces here for the taillights, and then we have a little bit of a thicker piece right here, and of course this big spoiler up top, looking beautiful, quad exhaust pipes. And look at the integration here of the diffuser, how subtle it is. It's not too much. It's not BMW styling where they just add some squared off boxes for the black piece that is the diffuser, for example, on the specifically the new M5. I love that we have quad tailpipes still visible in 2025, looking absolutely stunning. And here you can see the brand new design that we have for the internal pieces of the taillight. Personally, I'm not entirely sure which taillights I prefer. I really like these. You can see that here we have smaller pixels inside here, a bunch of small little LED pixels in the taillight, but in the 2025 model year they got a lot bigger right here, and we also have a thinner piece of LED now going around it, looking a little bit more static, I would say, but I do like the black housing that we have. The internal pieces are all blacked out, and again, we still have this waterfall design coming down from the taillights and creating this stunning, stunning bumper in the lower section. I am a huge fan of this generation Golf. I think it's, I can't really think of any better looking small hatchback than the Golf at the moment, because this is one super tight looking design, and it looks solid, it looks planted, specifically with these new wheels that we have going on here, looking absolutely stunning. We also have the wiper right there. Could maybe hit it under here. I would just want to remove this altogether because it's such a clean rear end otherwise. Now, last but not least, the main reason why I would personally go for the 2022 model year or the Golf R that came out in 2022 to 2024 is if you look at this interior right here, and this is one of these cars that this is probably the best example of putting too big of a screen inside of an interior that does not fit anything that goes on in the rest of the interior. You can clearly see that here. I don't understand the logic behind having this massive screen inside of this small, cozy little interior that we have for a Golf. Just splashing or just mounting this screen on top like this, it feels like it is so out of place in this interior. This previous generation was such a better integration of everything in the interior. This is, you don't need a bigger screen than this in a small little Golf. The thing I didn't like here were these sort of slider buttons that we have here. I'm not sure if they switched that up for 2025. It doesn't look like it. It looks like we still have the slider buttons here, even though I think Volkswagen actually said that they are going to go back to regular dials and buttons for the climate settings, which is absolutely fantastic news. Of course, you can see that in this case we don't have the manual here. Instead, we do have the paddles, and I do think the paddles on the 2025 model year, they are indeed a lot bigger than what we had here. I know a lot of people bought aftermarket paddles for the 2022 model year because they were a little bit too small. It looks like you don't need to do that here for 2025 because as you can see, they're a lot bigger now. But this is probably the main reason why I personally would go for the 2022 model year, is just the integration of the screen. I don't like this one bit. It doesn't look good, and I don't want to have a screen facing in my face the entire time I'm sitting in the car. It doesn't matter that the gauge cluster is still digital. I think this is a beautiful integration of a gauge cluster. Reminds me of Audi's gauge clusters, which and interiors. Some of the best interiors just a couple of years ago, but now they're also moving into, having a dual 12.3-inch dual screen setup for the new Audis for 2025, which is, in my opinion, a shame to see. So great job for the exterior design, and I do like the black edition. If, as I said, I would get the black edition package for 2025 if I were buying one for 2025 and some bronze wheels. But if it was me, I would get a used one, save a little bit of money, get a black Golf R and switch out the wheels, maybe lower it a half an inch or so, and just slap on some staggered setup with the bronze wheels, and that would be my perfect Golf R. But I'm looking forward still to seeing this out on the road, and it's great to see that we at least still have a hatchback like this for sale right here in the United States.